I've mentioned it often, but 2020 is looking to be an absolute massive year for Japanese RPGs. Final Fantasy VII Remake, Persona 5 Royal, Tales of Arise, hopefully we get Ys 9 next year as well. You could throw Dragon Ball Kakarot into the pile as well. But one game I hear from comment section all the time of you guys being super excited for is Cygames and the formerly Platinum Games developed Granblue Fantasy Relink. Platinum Games worked on the game for a while, then they left Cygames to finish it up. However, we haven't heard about the game for quite a while, but that all changed a little while ago with Granblue Fantasy Relink getting a 4th trailer and multiplayer gameplay. Yes, Relink will have a big emphasis on multiplayer if you decide to go that route, and Cygames debuted the 4th trailer and an 11-minute 4-player multiplayer gameplay walkthrough of the Cygames Osaka-developed action RPG, Granblue Fantasy Relink, and all of that went down at the Granblue Fantasy Festival 2019. However, unfortunately, a release window was not announced, so it looks like we're still going to be waiting a little bit until we get our hands on the game. I imagine that it will be coming sometime in 2020, but nonetheless, I want to talk a little bit about the game, and then we'll transition into some gameplay as well, so you guys can check that out for yourself without any commentary. But this game is looking absolutely incredible from a visual sense, presentation sense, music, gameplay. It is all looking very good, and in the 4-player multiplayer gameplay walkthrough of Granblue Fantasy Relink, unveiled at Granblue Fantasy Festival 2019, the Dragon Knights Lancelot, Vayne, Percival, and Siegfried appear as playable characters, in addition to demonstrating each knight's abilities and arts as well as the power of the ancient dragon boss enemy. It is a must-see, uniquely multiplayer gameplay showcase where battles unfold through character cooperation. In addition to the gameplay walkthrough, the 4th official trailer was also unveiled with features of the 4 knights as they gallantly rush to hold back a horde of monsters that threatened to overrun the crew. We also got a plethora of screenshots from the game, and again, I have to say that the visual style is a standout. It's one of those games that I feel like is gonna age really, really well over time, because in the traditional technical sense, it's not like this is a game that's gonna be pushing the PlayStation 4 to its absolute limits. However, the art style is so captivating. The use of various colors just make the world so vibrant and so alive, and from that standpoint, I'm incredibly digging all of the presentation elements that the game has. And of course, they have given us a lot of insight into the Dragon Knights themselves. We have Lancelot, who is the captain of the Knightly Order of the White Dragons. Despite his youth, he is more than capable of leading the forces of an entire kingdom. A variety of different abilities will be at your disposal when you play as him. R1 plus square, you've got Blade Impulse, a quick lunge attack. R1 and triangle, you have Cult Swinger, inflicts the freeze effect on the enemy in front of you to prevent movement. R1 and circle, you've got Lavena Storm, a long range attack that allows for rapid fire. And R1 plus X, you've got Blaudol, grants additional damage to standard attack for a fixed amount of time. And he is known as the Twin Fang Prodigy. Next up, we have Vayne, the Knight of Fellowship, a Knight of Valor. He pours his heart and soul into protecting his homeland, his friends, and his comrades in arms. As far as his abilities, he's got R1 and square for Rampart, grants invincibility to the allies around you. R1 and triangle, Lift Divider, draws in enemies while damaging those in front of you. R1 plus circle, breakthrough, raises aggro and draws in enemy attacks plus increases attack power. And then you have R1 and X, arm gain, a forward high power attack. Next up, we have Percival, the Lord of Flames, possessing the makings of a king. This young man strives to create a freedom free of war with other like-minded individuals. With his abilities, you have R1 and square for Thorngruff, a forward high-power consecutive attack. You have R1 and triangle, Flame Marsh, increase the attack power and defense power of nearby allies. With R1 circle, you have X Seal, inflicts the fear effect on the enemy in front of you to slow movement. And then you have R1 and X, you have Zerasign, a quick lunging attack. And lastly, we have Siegfried, the Dragon Slayer, once reviled as a traitor. That didn't stop this loyal knight from heroically saving his kingdom from crisis, so seems like he's got some pretty cool backstory. And by the way, I haven't really mentioned it, but the design of all of these characters is very, very good. They look distinct, however, they all have their unique quirks to them, and you could see them being allies and fighting alongside one another, so I think that just complements each other really well. And going back to Siegfried, his abilities include R1 and square, you have Iwi, a forward jumping multi-hit attack. R1 and triangle, Lombra at D-Hair, a counter attack. R1 and circle, you've got Managons, increase attack power and defense power for a fixed amount of time. And then R1 and X, that is Naranov, a high power melee attack. The gameplay itself looked very good from the gameplay video, and the end of the gameplay video also teases some of the enemy characters who will be featured in Granblue Fantasy Relink. It's unclear for now if they'll eventually end up playable or not, so keep your eyes open in terms of getting new information about the game. New versions of some of Granblue Fantasy Relink's old trailers and gameplay videos were also published by Side Games in order to show how the engine improved since then. The new trailer and the multiplayer gameplay video can be found directly on Side Games' official YouTube channel, but again, we will show a little bit of the multiplayer video at the end of this video without any commentary. And again, they have also published multiple new screenshots, and I'll leave a link to DualShockers.com where they have a listing of all of the various screenshots, and those all look really, really good. This is a game that I've been constantly seeing in the comment section whenever I talk about Japanese RPGs. I'm usually focused on Final Fantasy VII Remake and Persona 5 Royal, and it seems like, and this is a little bit surprising to me, there is a subsect of you that are incredibly excited for Granblue Fantasy Relink. How this game performs from a commercial standpoint is going to be really interesting, because I think that there is that groundswell of hype that is being generated for this game. There are some that are super excited for the game. How that ultimately is going to translate to the more mainstream JRPG audience, I don't know. JRPGs is one of those genres that for a game to truly hit the mainstream, it's very difficult. Yes, a Final Fantasy VII Remake will hit the mainstream, but even a game like Persona that is still relatively niche. I mean, a lot more people are playing Persona now than, let's say, 10 years ago. However, it's not as big as Final Fantasy, and how a game like Granblue Fantasy Relink does, I don't expect it to hit that Persona tier, but again, this is the first major Granblue title that'll be coming stateside, so if it does relatively well, hopefully that opens the door for more games like this to be brought over to the West. And just based on what I'm seeing anecdotally, I think Side Games has an expectation in their head of how this game is going to do in the West from a commercial standpoint, and I do think they're going to smash those expectations just because there is that groundswell of hype being developed for this game. There is that clamoring, and just in general, I feel like JRPGs now are much more popular than ever. You see those people that were never into Japanese games look at games like Tales of Arise, look at games like Persona 5 and get reasonably excited for them. I think Granblue Fantasy Relink will fall right into that tier where after it comes out, as long as it's a quality game, and given that Platinum Games did work on it, given what we've seen out of it thus far, given the multiplayer emphasis as well, I think it's going to draw a lot of people into this game, and I think this is going to be one of the surprising hits of 2020. Yes, I know a lot of you guys are very much excited for it, and you guys are aware of how good this game is going to be, but this is one of those games that I think is quietly going to be released in 2020. It's going to explode and people realize it's a good game, and then ultimately a lot of people will check it out after that. That's kind of what happened with Persona 5, all things considered. There was a decent level of hype for Persona 5 going into its release, but after it came out and after it was received as one of the best RPGs of all time, not just JRPG, it really broke out and become a much more successful game. I really think that Granblue Fantasy Relink has the potential to experience something very similar. But that's going to conclude this video. Really excited to see more and hear more about this game. Hopefully we'll get a release window very soon. Let's hope that the game will be released in 2020 because it's still scheduled to be a PlayStation 4 game, and if you're talking about releasing a PS4 game well after the release of PS5, I do think that would hurt the game from a commercial standpoint. That's just generally how things go. I mean, look at the sales number for a game like Gran Turismo 6 after the PlayStation 4 was released. That game did not do very well commercially, and that's because new consoles and their games are always going to take the wind out of sails for games that were developed for previous generations. That's just how generally things work. But nonetheless, that's going to conclude this video. Do enjoy some gameplay and sound off with all of your thoughts on Granblue Fantasy Relink in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.
的確な判断だ、カション。下りしろ。捉えられるか。白竜騎士団の誇りにかけて枚数繰り上げる。砕けろ。甘いぞ。チャンストライ。入ればいいやつだ。また言われなくとも応援ボール。じっくりと分かっている。シュワルツェンファンギャー届けアブソリュートゼロ。よっしゃーやったぜ。多少手こずった。まさに竜の騎士という戦いぶりだったぞ。見事だみんな。どうやら船も無事そうだ。これで一安心かな。
いいじゃねえか。ついてるな。
お疲れ様。
おめでとう。
よっしゃ。それじゃあ救助を呼びに行こうぜ。
Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.